This might just be one of the most underrated films of this year, and I highly, highly, highly recommend seeking it out and also bringing a box of tissues with you. Hi, everybody. Today we are chatting about Train Dreams, a new upcoming Netflix release that is directed by Clint Bentley and co-written by him and Greg Kwedar. I got to catch this at TIFF this year, and it was the last film that I saw at the festival, and what a way to go out. I will admit, I really did not know anything about this film. Based on the title, I thought it was going to be a story about some man making railroads and working on trains, and yes, there is that component to it, but there is so much more that this film brings, and I was not ready for it. Train Dreams has a absolutely wonderful cast, including Joel Edgerton, Felicity Jones, Kerry, Condon, and William H. Macy. This is a very gentle, quiet film about logger Robert Grainer, who works to develop railroads across the United States, and it causes him to be away from his wife and his daughter for long periods of time. So we see him grappling with that. We see him interacting with the nature around him. We see him interacting with some of the people that he meets throughout his work. And we also just see him kind of struggling to figure out his place in an ever-changing world, especially as industrialization takes hold of the United States and other parts of the world. Now, this film is from the same team that brought you Sing Sing and Jockey, and I highly recommend watching both of those films. They are very much in tune and in line with the things that Train Dreams brings you. It brings you an overwhelming sense of calm, it gives you very emotional portraits of men, and it just kind of makes you think about life, which isn't that what we want from art? Now, I am a big fan of plants. You do not see it in my videos, but I have just a massive display of plants in my apartments, so I love any film that brings me very close to nature, and this is certainly one of them. I love the way that these very, very tall trees are captured in this film. I love the green hues that show up on screen. I quite enjoy the way that this film explores the way that humans interact with nature, and oftentimes it can be in some destructive ways, and it's explored in a number of different ways, both with the logging and some even more devastating and destructive means. I think this film has a very Terrence Malick way about it, especially in the visuals. I recommend Days of Heaven. I think that's a film that a lot of people, when they watch this film, they instantly think of that one. And I would say another film that connects to our place in nature and the work that we do is Perfect Days by Wim Wenders. I just had a lovely time watching that film, as I did with this one, and I just think the two of them make such great double features. Pair all three of them for quite the emotional triple feature if you really want to go there. Since this is the portrait of someone's life, you really need a solid actor to fill in those shoes, and Joel Edgerton really blew me away. I think this is one of his best, if not the best, performance that he has given so far in his career. I just found him so moving. I love the scenes where he and Felicity Jones just get to share time in their home and get to be around their daughter. I love the gentleness that he has toward nature and the way that he looks up at the trees or just kind of takes in this environment around him. He has a home that is truly in the middle of nowhere. It's surrounded by forest and nature, and it's just so lovely to see him in that environment. And then this film moves into such devastating territory that I wasn't really expecting, and then we get to see a whole other side of Robert's character and the way that he is struggling to move on, the way that he doesn't know how to continue living, but he has to. He has no other means. He just has to keep going back to work. And I just found so much of his performance to be so soulful and so moving. And I really didn't expect this from this film. I didn't expect this from Joel, even though he is a really wonderful actor. But I was just so taken aback by everything. I think those very emotional, devastating aspects of this film can be very much combined with Manchester by the Sea, a film that I have certainly talked about in the past. And then two, just this grander story of a man's life and the way that it changes with every coming year. Can't help but recommend and think about Barry Lyndon. That one is certainly a little bit more lighter in certain moments, but I just think it's very fascinating to kind of compare and contrast these two films and these characters and the way that they go about their lives. I think another film that this one really reminded me of, especially kind of the melancholic and just the quieter moments, was The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, one of my absolute favorite films from David Fincher. I think in the way that both of those films are very contemplative about life and just one's place in it, and especially as so much is changing around you, I think makes them a really wonderful double feature. Felicity Jones, I quite enjoy her performance in this film. She's not in it quite as much as I thought she would be, but I love the way that she and Joel play off each other. William H. Macy, he is a very supporting player in this film, and he just blew me away. I don't think I've ever really liked him quite as much as I like him in this film. He has some very knowledgeable things to drop, and just the way that he acts in this film is unlike anything I've seen of him before. He's also kind of unrecognizable in this film too, I have to admit. Kerry Condon is another very gentle presence in this film who doesn't appear until the end of this film practically, and I do wish that we had more time with her just because I quite enjoy the conversations that she and Joel Edgerton's characters have. They've both gone through quite a lot in their lives, and I think that that would have been quite interesting to just explore a little bit more of her character and the way that their relationship builds from their experiences. Surprisingly, I did not cry while watching this film. I think it is due to the exhaustion and it being the last film of a festival, and sometimes you're like, ooh, I'm so ready to go home. I can't wait to finish up with this. However, I'm very excited to rewatch this and to really get the full devastating effect that I know it's going to have on me. But overall, I gave this film a 4 out of 5. It is so beautiful. It is moving. I love what Bentley and Kwedar do together, and I'm just excited to keep seeing what other films they deliver to us in the future. And I'm really hoping that there is some award season love for this film, whether it's for Joel's performance, whether it's for another screenplay nomination, anything, the cinematography, whatever you want. I just really hope that this one gets some credit. It deserves it. It's truly one not to miss, and I highly implore you to watch it in theaters if you're able to. You need to see just how beautiful this landscape is on a theater versus a phone. Please do this for me. Thanks everybody for watching, and I'll see you here next time.